Hey guys, how are you doing? Ted here, or Slow Ted. And today I'm gonna do a track breakdown of my track Closer, which was released on Sekora earlier this year, together with Tempest and Phil Odd. And this is quite of a groovy and dance floor friendly track, I would say. Still has those melodic vibes though that really defines my kind of sound. So yeah, I figured I'd do a breakdown how it was made, the main elements, and what I did basically to make it sound as it does. So yeah, let's dive in. All right guys, this is the full track. You will see that some of the instruments are actually audio files, and that's because this was a collab, as I mentioned earlier, between Tempest and Phil Odd. So some of the sounds are from them. They are working in Ableton, so we had to bounce it into stems. So you will see that some instruments are audio files. All right, so yep, this is the whole track, and as you can see, it's quite tidy and cleaned up. And this is always how I like working. It maybe starts a bit more messy, but then while I build the track, I try to clean everything up and also color grade everything. So you can see here, like I always have the vocals on top, which is purple. Yes, and then I have the kicks, and then I have the bass, which is red. The main synth elements, which is this bluish color, followed by the other synths, which usually are like light blue or something. And then I do the drums, which is more of a brown kind of color. I do all the claps, rims, whatever, snares in a dark green color. And then the cymbals, shakers, hats in yellow. And then I have the effects at the bottom. All right, so let's start with listening to the track. and that was the track. And as you can hear, this is the extended edit. I always like to start with making the extended edit, because then you know where it's easier to cut the radio edit when you have an extended edit, or at least for me, because you have all the elements in place rather than starting with the radio edit and then build it from there. But I mean, it's a matter of taste always. So, but yeah, I always start with making the extended edit first, and then I duplicate the project and then do the radio edit within another project. And I always do that the last thing when I have it approved by the label and everything. All right, so let's start diving into the track, and I will start with what I think is the most interesting thing, which is the drums. So let's hide everything else. And this is basically the drums. And me, I start the track with building the drums, or almost I start with building the drums. Maybe I do like the main chords or anything just to get the idea out, if I have like a chord progression or like a melody in my head. But then I immediately start building the drums, because for me, the hardest part of making a track is the drums. So I like starting with the hardest thing, so I have that out of the way. And also, personally, I think like it doesn't matter what kind of electronic genre you're doing. It's like the drums are way more important than people realize. I think like, you hear a lot of tracks which they have like the melodic parts on point, but they don't really have the drums, like all these little details, the groove and all that. So yeah, drums are very important. I would say like the most important in the track. So that's why I always start with the drums. And if you want to listen to the drum groove, it's basically sounds like this. And later on, we add like the hats and stuff. So it really builds up. You can hear the hats. Yeah, so one thing that is really important with making a drum groove is that you want to think of it like the drum has a melody as well. It's not only the melodic part that has a melody, it's also the drums, and they should like work together with the melody and the chord progression and the bass. So you can hear it if you listen to the drums. Oops, sorry. You can clearly hear that's like it is a melody in the drum groove, and that's basically like the toms and percussion and all that, and all the percussion sounds like this. And basically it's a lot of different drums, and it's all samples. Sometimes I use loops, but most of the times I build from scratch myself. I use a lot of loops, and I cut out all the parts that I like, and then I either have them as an audio track, like you can hear, like here. You can hear this is part of the loop, for instance. But usually what I do is that I put it in the sampler, so I can change the key. So you can hear there's a lot of congas and stuff that really builds the track. You can hear here. So this is basically like the drum, like the main groove. And then I add some low perks. I think, yeah. And also, especially for the low tones, always make sure that they are in the right key. I don't actually remember the key of this track, but yeah, or well, let's take a look. It's probably in, yeah, D. So probably like D major or minor. But usually if you don't know what is called the scales, just look it up on Google and try to fit at least the low toms and all like those kind of percussion, so you have them in the right key. I think that makes a huge difference. The high toms, so like this stuff that you really can hear the tones, not that important. Like, yeah, maybe this, but I think we have like this, for instance. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about this being the right key, but you can see like this. I made sure that they are in the right key, because you can see here, like for instance, I always name the original key of this one is in D sharp. So I probably, yeah, I tune it down one semitone, so it's in the key of D. Yeah, so and what I do also is I put some kind of processing on the whole drum bus. Sometimes it's Bloom. I really like this one. Either it's Bloom, sometimes it's like compressor, sometimes it's both. But I always like to have it a drum bus and do a processing on the whole bus. And sometimes I even put the kick inside the drum bus. Sometimes I don't. It depends. This time I have the kick also in the drum bus, which can be nice because you get the processing from the Bloom also on the kick. Okay, and this, I only have like one clap. This is like a rim. I think this is actually from another track of mine called A Celebration of Existence. I thought it sounded nice and they were in the same tempo, so I just exported it from that project and used it in this one. And if we're going forward with the actual shakers and stuff, you can hear this is basically, so I think like, yeah, so this is just the open hat or open shaker. And what I usually do, as you can hear here, for instance, I usually automate the decay of the sound. So it starts very small, like in the intro. You don't want the hi-hats to be like too open, basically. So you can hear it starts very small. And then I continue with it. So you can see it opens up. The decay time gets longer and longer. Yeah, so you can hear here is the start at first drop. Compare it from here to here. Yeah, and then I gradually increase it during the track. And I think I did the same with the with like the shakers as well. Let me see here. Yeah, and this is a sample as well as I put it in the sampler. You can see here, you can hear it, very small. Increases. And also this is like a detail that I think a lot of people miss, that you want the drums to build and feel organic throughout the track. And this is a great way of doing it. Start small. Make it go bigger, 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 bigger. And wait. And then I think I have like, yeah, this is like just a normal loop. So no shame of using loops. either. Just don't make it the main element in your drums. Use it more to color your usual drum sound. I think here I've done the same with the decay. Yeah, so it starts small. And here I took the loop. So if you don't know how to do that, if you don't know how to do that, basically, if you have a loop like this, yeah, you put it inside Logic. So this is the original loop, and then I just convert it into sample track. Right click, convert to new sample track. Usually I do transit markers. Oops. And now I have it inside the piano roll with each individual sound based on the transients. And what's nice about now is you can like change the decay, make it tighter and more open. So that's what I did here. And also one thing that I do almost in all my tracks is in some way is that I add this kind of rides. That's actually two rides. One that is like on the offbeat. Sometimes I automate the... Oh, I didn't do it this time. But yeah, it's on the offbeat. I usually also automate the wet of the reverb to make it really build up. And then I have another ride play on each hit. So it really builds up. If you listen to the whole drum groove with the kick also, when you stop, it really fills out everything. You don't want it in the beginning, but as the track progresses, it's a nice way of building everything up without using too much effects. Because when you use the reverb on the ride like this with the automation, it's almost like making a sweep. So it's a very nice effect actually. Kind of subtle, but still really nice. And in the whole track. Oops. Alright, I think that's it for the drums. Nothing crazy going on, but I think what really makes this track is the drums, kind of. And I spend a lot of time programming all of this. I mean, this is not an original project. If I would have shown the original project, there would probably been a lot of different drum hits and stuff and sounds that I didn't use in the finished version. But yeah, so I spend a lot of time programming the drums, and that's why I like starting with that almost. So you're got a fresh mind and you're ready to spend a few hours just programming the drums to make it really sound nice. At least like 80% done, I would say. Okay, so let's move on to the bass. And I've been using this sound a lot in my tracks, almost too much, but I like it so much. And what I usually do is that I divide the bass sounds. So I call it top bass, but this is basically the main bass, but just without the sub part. Nothing lower than 166 hertz. And then I have the same sound duplicated and do it the other way around. And this is a nice way of controlling the sub part, because usually you want the sub part to be lower, you want it to be higher. It all depends. So this is a nice way of doing it. Also, I process it a little bit differently, because as you can see, for instance, I have the sub bass in mono. I always do this kind of plug-in direction mixer, and I put it in mono. So the sub part is mono. And also, yeah, what I've done is that I use track shifter, track spacer, great plugin, which is kind of a side chain. You could just use a compressor if you want to, but this is nice. So I think I side chain the sub bass to the low percussion. Yeah, and quite heavy also. And this is why it's very important to have as you can see here, I have the low percussion in the key of D, and the bass is playing mostly in the key of D. So, and that's also, so you can always think of it as it's a second bass playing with the toms. And in order to make space for it in the mix, I think track spacer is a great way of doing it. You should be a little bit careful of when to use track spacer, to not use it like on the whole mix, because I think you first should start with making the mix sound good without it. But for some stuff, it's perfect. For this, for instance, it's great, because you really want to sidechain the sub bass to this, because you want to hear this and not so much of this when the low toms are playing. But that's also why I like to divide my sub bass and my other bass, because I don't want the whole bass sound to be sidechained to the low percussion, only the sub part. So that's also why I like doing this. But this is how the bass sounds. Together with the kick. Let's put on the low toms. And you can already hear here that it's a nice groove. Not get carried away here. And I think this is nothing crazy. This is just a preset from the basic waves pack, I think. And by the way, yes, I still use Serum 1. I haven't started using Serum 2 yet. Yeah, you can see this is from the Dreams by Bound Divide preset, a pretty old preset from Basic Waves. And it's the one called Bass Pentasaw bass, yeah. So I haven't changed anything really on the preset. I'm not really into sound design, to be honest. I usually just use presets, maybe tweak them a little bit. But I think what really makes this sound is that I pay attention to details, as always. The same as with drums, same goes with bass. So I think what's very important is, you can see I'm making this minor adjustment with the cutoff. So it really feels alive, you know. And you will hear it even more throughout the track. Like here. And I think you want some kind of movement in the bass, and I do it in two ways. I do it within the piano roll with actual notes playing. Yeah, so you see either it's like this different notes that are making like this really nice movement, or it's the automation on the cutoff. It's either one of them to really make this movement. And then I start kind of subtle. You can hear it a little bit, but then as the track progresses, I increase the cutoff over time. As you can see here, it still goes up and down, but it still gradually increases over time also. Yeah, I think that's it. I put the limiter on this kind of sound also to make it a little bit controlled. I mean, I think still it's already like, no compressor inside. All right, yeah, that's the bass sound. So pretty easy actually, but I think you really want to spend time making it nice. And this is not like this filter automation and the notes, different notes are not like just random. It's like playing together with the drum groove and the kick. I mean, if you listen to drums, because the drums are absolutely the core of the track, but I would say like the kick, drums, and bass are the absolute core of the track. Try to nail that to make it really fit, and then you have like 60% of the track done. Like this, you can really hear that one. It's kind of subtle, but you can still hear it. Like it, that's such a nice effect. Yeah, so what really makes it sound natural is that I actually spend time of programming it, so it sounds really organic and changes over time. Okay, drums done, bass done. Let's continue with the synths. So this is kind of the main synth. And I think like, yeah, so what I did here was that I played around with the pitch bend. This is actually what creates the sound. Oops. You can see here. And I played this live a bunch of times, and then I just chopped up everything and used the best parts. And this is, I think I only have this left in this project from the main lead. And then I have, yeah, because what I did, I think I did this like a bunch of time. I resampled my lead and processed this system, because this gives you some kind of like almost like it's analog synth almost when you bounce it into audio files, because when you bounce it you kind of commit to the melody and the timing. So I think it's kind of nice, and you also have control over it. Yeah. So you can see I bounce it with the delay and everything, and then I put one of my favorite plugins on top, which is the Decapitator. And I think a really nice way of getting like this analog sound is that you have a synth. You can try this on a bunch of different synths, but you have it, and then you put a high cut on the sound, maybe at 3K or something, 3000 Hertz. You can't see it here because, you can kind of see it here, but I've already done this in the main before I bounced it, before I exported it into audio. I did this, so this is already kind of high cut, I think. No, okay, all right. So this is, so I put this. And then what you do, you put a high cut, you can play around with the cutoff, and then you put a decapitator or some kind of distortion afterwards to make it sound really interesting, because it gives some kind of harmonics and high frequencies that you don't really have before. It still sound kind of like high cutted, but with this really nice effect. So that's, I use that a lot to like recreate sound which sounds boring. I high cut the sound, and then I put a decapitator or some kind of distortion afterwards. And then usually what I do is I put a high cut again to, like you can see here, to actually control the sound. So that's what I did with this sound a bunch of times. I bounced it again and again with the new effects, and then you have like it with audio files. Yeah, so here, like the melody is very simple, but I think like with the delay and with this actual sound, which it sounds kind of analog, even though it's just a preset, I think, from the basic wave sound, basic waves preset. But I mean, together with the synths and everything, with like the main chords. Oops, wait, not that one. Yeah, so that's the main lead basically. And then I have some small, I think, in the break. Yeah, this is just the main lead. What I think I put like some kind of reverb or something, and then I bounced it again. Yeah, I don't have the original file anymore, but I just have it. And then for chords, I have a bunch of layers. Because it's kind of a simple chord progression, to be honest. Because I think this is like a D. Yeah, it's a D major chord. Yeah, D major. But I usually don't make it like a normal major chord. I like to color them with some kind of top notes or add notes or something to make it a little bit more interesting. Yeah, so synths. Yeah, I think this is from Basic Waves pack also. I mean, nothing fancy going on, to be honest. Yeah. And then I have the pianos on top. I think I used the Gentleman. I think, yeah, really nice. Really nice to use this tone and make it a little bit softer. Yeah, nothing crazy going on. And I think I have like the, yeah, like a top melody. Sounds really, yeah. But together with everything, it's a nice detail. Actually, this like this part, you can actually hear it in the final track. Just listen here. Yeah, it's kind of subtle but still nice. And then I have some additional pads. I think I used the ozone. Yeah, the isotope ozone for this, but I don't have that plugin anymore. Or I think I have a newer one. But yeah, just some pads. Yeah, this is from the same pack, The Dreams by Basic Waves or Bound to Divide. I use them a lot for the synths, actually. What more? Yeah, and one thing also, yeah, we're not finished with the synths. I use this kind of sound a lot also. Sometimes I use it like almost kind of in front of the mix, almost like a main element. And sometimes I use it a lot in the background with a lot of high cut. I mean, and you can hear it like in the beginning. It's a very high cut. And this is not only to give the melodic vibe, it's also actually rhythmical, you know? It gives a nice rhythm to the whole song. Just listen here. Maybe a little. Without it. Yeah, it's very subtle, but I mean, you can especially hear it in the second drop. You can really hear it. Without it. Yeah. So it gives a really nice rhythm. It's almost like a percussion sound also. And to be honest, I use this in basically all my tracks in some way. Sometimes more in the front, sometimes more in the back. But it's really nice to give some kind of rhythm. And then I have this really nice addition from Phil Odd, which is this kind of synth. And I have no idea what kind of plugin this is. But it sounds kind of analog, so I would guess it's Diva, but I'm not sure. Go and ask him. Yeah, but this is really nice. I have it automated, so it goes up and down, up and down. And then I think I have a few other sounds also, which is from Tempest and Phil Odd. I don't remember who did this, but you can see here also some nice sound. Very subtle, but you can really hear it in the beginning. Also some strings. You can hear it a lot in... This is also like a tension string, just one note. This is a really nice way. Very subtle also. I think I have another one actually. Yeah, two different notes. A low D note, and this is some other note. But you know, really build the tension. Let's see this. Oh yeah. Yeah, also very subtle. But I mean, it's a lot of different details which really makes the track. It's not just chords, melody, and a simple drum progression. It's a lot of small details that really adds up and really fills up the whole track. Yeah, you can hear it in the beginning. Bum, bum, bum. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it for the synths, actually. Yep. I think one interesting thing that I do sometimes is, as you can hear, if you listen to the synths, Oh yes, let me show you how it sounds with everything. Maybe you don't really hear it or think about it, but I actually automated the rate of the full tool to make it sound like wobbly, if that's even a word, before the second drop. So you can see I automate the rate of the, and then I also automate the volume. So here in the beginning you can hear it because the volume of the LFO tool is 0, but then I increase it and then increase the rate of it. So it tries to give this really nice effect. And I've done this on a few other tracks also. Let me show you. So a nice way of building the track, actually. I mean, you want to find like unique ways of building or like making stuff sound, basically. And I mean, I tried to make the song, because now I'm going to go into the last part, which is the effects. And I try to make the song sound good without any effects. I mean, sometimes you really need them to give the vibe of the track, but like I did with the ride with the reverb thing on the rides earlier, I want to like give it a nice effect without using some external effects first, and then if I think it's needed, I will add it in the end. And it's very simple. I mean, we have this bird noise. I mean, it's kind of an organic house sound, organic house track. So I always like to use this kind of bird sounds in some way or something. And then just a normal sweep, because why not? And this is just nothing crazy going on. And some more textures. Yeah. Some stuff. I mean, nothing crazy really. And I think that Tempest or Phil added this children playing, which is really nice. Yeah. So nothing crazy going on with the effects. I mean, as I said, I want it to sound good without them, basically. And yeah, okay, one last thing, so I don't forget, is like the vocal thing. And this was like a late addition from Tempest, which is like the vocal loop, which is like, it's probably some kind of splice loop. And what Tempest did was just to loop the closer word. Closer, closer. So it sounds really nice. So what I did, I used Little Older Boy just to decrease the format a bit, to sound it less harsh. This is without it. Yeah. And then I added some more delay. It's already delay in there, but yeah, some more. And I think I automate the delay also, yeah. So it really builds up. Yeah. Nothing crazy going on. And then I have some vocal ear candies. yeah, just some atmospheric stuff. And I've just been sure that it's in the right key. Put some Valhalla Supermassive, some H delay, and I've LFO tool to give it some sidechain. Usually, actually, I don't I don't usually use sidechain when I don't have a kick, but here I did for some reason. Yeah, and then this one is really nice. I mean, this is so nice. It's probably from some Spice sample. I don't know. Really hear this sound and how important it is. And one thing, lastly, before we end, is like what I think is important with this track is because you kind of have the same melody going on all the time. You introduce it in the first drop, like the main lead, and then we have it throughout the breakdown. And in order to not make it too repetitive and like boring, there's a lot of ways you can do it. You can do it by filter and stuff and changing sounds or whatever. But what we did was to make like an anti-drop. We had a different version in the beginning, actually. I did like a version where I did a completely different lead sound in the second drop and playing like almost like melodic melodic techno kind of lead, like do something like that, like some really what I thought was unique. But now, and I really wanted to keep it in the track, but now when I listen back to it, I was like, okay, it's so good that I didn't use it in the final product. And yeah, but what we did was to make like an anti-drop, so it's no lead sound or anything, just like the bass chords and whatever, so it builds up and then you get like an anti-drop. You can see only with the bass and the kick bass, some synths, and just some small percussions going on. And then I think after 32 bars, we introduce like the main lead again. Yeah, so I think that's it for like the whole track. Let me know if I missed any part or if you want me to show how I created any sound more in depth. But otherwise, I think that's it. So yeah, let me know which track you want me to do next time, because this was the first track breakdown and I'm probably gonna do a lot more. So let me know which one I'm gonna do next.